Om Namo Narayana, welcome back. We are on part 2 of the Kaushitaki Brahmana Upanishad. We're in mid-conversational stream. My Chitra Gargayani. Prana, the vital breath, is Brahman. Thus indeed, Kaushitaki used to say, of this same vital breath, which is Brahma, verily mind is the messenger, the eye the protector, the ear the announcer, speech the encloser. He who verily knows mind as the messenger of this vital breath, that is Brahman, becomes the messenger. He who knows eye as the protector becomes possessed of a protector. He who knows the ear as the announcer becomes possessed of an announcer. He who knows speech as the encloser becomes possessed of an encloser. To this vital breath as Brahman, all the gods bring offerings unbegged. Likewise, indeed, to this vital breath, all beings bring offerings unbegged. The secret doctrine of him who knows this: one should not beg. It is as if, having begged of a village and not having received anything, one should sit down saying, I shall not eat anything from that which is given from here. Those very ones who previously refused now invite him. This is the law for one who begs not. But those who invite him are the givers of food, saying, let us give it to you. The vital breath is Brahman. This indeed, Prana used to say. Of this vital breath, on Brahman, behind the speech, the eye is enclosed. Behind the eye, the ear is enclosed. Behind the ear, the mind is enclosed. Behind the mind, the vital breath is enclosed. To this same vital breath as Brahman, all these gods bring offering unbegged. Even so, to the same vital breath, all beings living bring offerings unbegged only. Of him who knows this is that secret doctrine. One should not beg. Now, next, the procuring of the highest treasure. If one should covet the highest treasure, either on the night of a full moon or on the night of a new moon, or during the bright half of the moon under an auspicious constellation, at one of these periods, having built up a fire, having swept all around, having shown the sacred grass, having sprinkled around, having bent the right knee, with a spoon or a wooden bowl, or with a metal cup, he offers oblations of melted butter, with the words, the divinity named speech is a procure. May it procure this thing for me from so-and-so, to it hail. The divinity named vital breath is a procure. May it procure this thing from me from so-and-so, to it hail. The divinity named I is a procurer. May it procure this thing for me from so-and-so, to it hail. The divinity named ear is a procurer. May it procure this thing for me from so-and-so, to it hail. The divinity named mind is a procurer. May it procure this thing for me from so-and-so, to it hail. The divinity named intelligence is a procurer. May it procure this thing for me from so-and-so, to it hail. Then, having inhaled the smell of the smoke, having rubbed his limbs over with the ointment of melted butter, silently he should go forth, declare his object, or send a messenger. He obtains here, indeed. Now, next the longing to be realized with divine powers. If one should desire to become beloved of a man, or of a woman, or of men, or of women, at one of these same points in time, having built up a fire, he offers in exactly the same manner oblations of melted butter, saying, your speech I sacrifice in me, you so-and-so hail. Your vital breath I sacrifice in me, you so-and-so hail. Your eye I sacrifice in me, you so-and-so hail. Your intelligence I sacrifice in me, you so-and-so hail. Then, having inhaled the smell of the smoke, having rubbed his limbs over with the spearing of the melted butter, silently he should go forth and desire to approach and touch, or he may simply stand and converse from windward. He becomes beloved indeed. The longing for him indeed. Now, next, self-restraint, according to Pradhana, or the inner Agnihotra as they call it. Verily, as long as a person is peaking, he is not able to breathe. Then he is sacrificing vital breath in speech. As long, verily, as a person is breathing, he is not able to speak. Then he is sacrificing speech and breath. These two are unending, immortal oblations. Waking or sleeping, one is continuously, uninterruptedly making them. Now, whenever other oblations there are, they have an end, for they consist of works. Knowing this very thing, verily the ancients did not offer the Agnihotra sacrifice. Now, what is Brahmana? The recitation is Brahmana. Thus indeed was Sushkabangara wont to say. One should meditate on it as the hymn of praise. Unto him, indeed, all beings sing praise for his greatness. One should meditate on it as the yajus, the sacrificial formula. Unto him, indeed, are all beings united for his greatness. One should meditate on it as the chant. Unto him, indeed, all beings bow down for his greatness. One should meditate on it as beauty. One should meditate on it as glory. One should meditate on it as splendor. As this is the most beautiful, the most glorious, the most splendid among the invocations of the Shastras. Even so is he who knows this the most beautiful, the most glorious, the most splendid among all beings. So the Advaryu priest prepares this self, which is related to the sacrifice and which consists of work. In it he weaves what consists of the yajus. In what consists of the yajus, the Hota priest weaves what consists of the rig. In what consists of the rig, the Udgatar priest weaves what consists of the sarman. This is the self of all the threefold knowledge, and thus he who knows this becomes the self of Indra. The all-conquering Kaushitaki indeed was wont to worship the rising sun, having performed the investiture with the sacred thread, having fetched water, having thrice sprinkled the water vessel, saying, "You are a deliverer, take my sin away." In the same way he was wont to worship the sun when it was in the mid-heaven, saying, "You are the high deliverer, take my sin away." In the same way he was wont to worship the sun when it was setting, saying, "You are the full deliverer, take my sin away." Whatever sin he committed by day or night, that it takes away. Likewise, also, he who knows this worships the sun in the same manner. Whatever sin one commits by day or by night, it takes away fully. Now, month by month, at the time of the new moon, when it comes round, one should, in the same way, worship the moon as it appears in the west, or throw 2 blades of grass toward it, saying, "The heart of mine, of fair outlines, which in the sky and moon doth rest, I think I am knower of that. May I not weep for children's ill." Indeed, his children do not predecease him. Thus it is with one to whom a son has been born. Now in the case of one to whom a son has not been born, increase, may vigor enter thee, may milk and food gather in thee, may that which the Adityas gladden. Having muttered these 3 verses, he says, "Do not increase our vital breath by our offspring, by our cattle. He who hates us and him whom we hate, increase by his breath, by his offering, by his cattle. I turn myself with Indra's turn. I turn myself along with the turn of the sun." Thus he turns himself towards the right arm. Thus on the night of the full moon one should worship in the same way the moon as it appears in the east, saying, "You are the far-shining King Soma, the 5-mouthed, the Lord of creation. The Brahmana is one mouth of you. With that mouth you eat the kings. With that mouth make me an eater of food. The king is one mouth with you. With that mouth you eat the people. With that mouth make me an eater of food. The hawk is one mouth with you. With that mouth you eat birds. With that mouth make me an eater of food. 5 is one mouth with you. With that mouth you eat this world. With that mouth make me an eater of food. In you is a 5th moon. With that mouth you eat all beings. With that mouth make me an eater of food. Waste not away with our vital breath, our offspring or cattle. He who hates us and him whom we hate, waste away with his vital breath, his offspring, his cattle. Thus I turn myself with the turn of the gods, I turn myself with the turn of the sun. Afterwards he turns himself towards the right arm. Now when about to lie down with a wife, one should touch her heart and say, "That which is thy heart, O fair one, is placed within Prajapati. Therewith, O queen of immortality, may you not come on children's ill. Her children do not then predecease her." Now when one has been away On returning, he should kiss his son's head and say, "From every limb of mine you are born. From my heart you are born. O son, you are indeed myself. May you live 100 autumns long. So and so." He takes his name. Become a stone, become an axe, become unconquerable gold. A brilliant sun indeed you are, so live 100 autumns long. So and so. He takes his name. Then he embraces him, saying, "Wherewith Prajapati embraced his creatures for the welfare, therefore I embrace you, so and so." Then he mutters in his right ear, "Confer on him, O Maghavan, O Anrashar," and in his left ear, "O Indra, grant most excellent possessions, do not cut off the line of our race. Be not afraid, live 100 autumns of life. Son, I kiss your head with your name." Thrice he should kiss his head. "I make a lowering over you with a lowing of cows." Thrice he should make a lowing over his head. Now, next, the dying around of the gods. And this Brahma verily shines when the fire blazes. Likewise, it dies when it blazes not. Its brilliance goes to the sun, its vital breath to the wind. This Brahma verily shines when the sun is seen. Likewise, it dies when it is not seen. Its brilliance goes to the moon, its vital breath to the wind. This Brahma verily shines forth when the lightning flashes. Likewise, it dies when it flashes not. Its brilliance goes to the regions of space, its vital breath to the wind. All these divinities verily have entered into the wind, perish not when they die in the wind. There, from, indeed, they come forth again. Thus with reference to the divinities. Now with reference to the self. This Brahma verily shines forth when one speaks with speech. Likewise, this dies when one speaks not. Its brilliance goes to the eye, its vital breath to the vital breath. This Brahman verily shines when one sees with the eye. Likewise, this dies when one sees not. Its brilliance goes to the ear, its vital breath to the vital breath. This Brahman verily shines when one hears with the ear. Likewise, this dies when one hears not. Its brilliance goes to the mind, its vital breath to the vital breath. This Brahman verily shines when one thinks with the mind. Likewise, it dies when one thinks not. Its brilliance goes to the vital breath, its vital breath to the vital breath. All these divinities verily have entered into the vital breath, perish not when they did in the vital breath. Therefore, indeed, they come forth again. So verily, indeed, if upon one who knows this, both the mountains, the southern and the northern, should roll themselves forth seeking to crush him, they would not crush him. But those who hate him, and those whom he himself hates, all these die around him. Now next the assumption of superior excellence. All these divinities verily, disputing amongst themselves in regard to self-superiority, went forth from this body, not breathing, it lay dry like a piece of wood. Then speech entered into it. It just lay speaking with speech. Then the eye entered into it. It just lay speaking with speech, seeing with the eye. Then the ear entered into it. It just lay speaking with speech, seeing with the eye, hearing with the ear. Then the mind entered into it. It just lay speaking with speech, seeing with the eye, hearing with the ear, thinking with the mind. Then the vital breath entered into it, and then indeed it at once arose. All these divinities, having verily recognized to superior excellence of the vital breath, having comprehended the vital breath alone as the self of intelligence, went forth from this body altogether. They, having entered into the wind, having the nature of space, went to the heavenly world. Likewise, also indeed, he who knows this, having recognized the superior excellence of the vital breath, having comprehended the vital breath alone as the self of intelligence, goes out of the body with all these. Having entered into the wind, having the nature of space, he goes to heaven. He goes there, where these gods are. Now, having reached that, he who knows this becomes immortal, as the gods are immortal. Next, the father and son ceremony, or the transmission, as they call it. A father about to depart calls his son. Having strewn the house with new grass, having built up the fire, having placed near it a vessel of water with a jug, himself covered with a fresh garment, the father remains lying. Having come, the son lies down on top, touching organs with organs. Or the father may transmit to him, seated face to face. Then he delivers over him thus: "Father, my speech in you I would place. Son, I take your speech in me. My breath in you I would place. I take your breath in me. My eye in you I would place. I take your eye in me. My ear in you I would place. I take your ear in me. My taste of food in you I would place. I take your taste of food in me. My deeds in you I would place. I take your deeds in me. My pleasure and pain in you I would place. I take your pleasure and pain in me. My bliss, delight, procreation in you I would place. I take your bliss, delight, and procreation in me. My movement in you I would place. I take your movement in me. My mind in you I would place. I take your mind in me. My intelligence in you I would place. I take your intelligence in me. If, however, he should be unable to speak much, let the father say summarily, My vital breaths in you I would place. And the son replies, Your vital breaths in me I take. Then, turning to the right, he goes towards the east. The father calls out after him, My glory, sacred luster, and fame delight in you. Then the other looks over his left shoulder, having hid his face with his hand, or having covered it with the edge of his garment, says, May you obtain heavenly worlds and all desires. If the father should become well, he should dwell under the lordship of his son. He should wander as a mendicant. If, however, he should die, let them perform obsequences as they should be performed. Thus ends part 2. That was intense. This is a very different Upanishad than others I've read so far on this channel. This is giving lots of ritual. This is a very ritualistic Upanishad. I didn't quite expect that. I've been reading a lot of narrations and a lot of theology, not theosophy, and so this is quite a shock, and yeah, interesting. Anyways, lots of stuff here. Feel free to comment however you want, and join me in the next video as we get to part 3 and then part 4. Thanks for watching. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.